Thank you very much for taking the time and out of your busy day. And I know you're canvassing. You got 50 days, something like that. And how many to the election?
About 38.
About 38 for us here. And out of your time and busy schedule to come in and chat with me. I'm just intrigued because I'm a huge military, advocate. I spent the time in the military too, and yourself. With those questions we were just kind of chatting about, was your athleticism in sports that kind of geared you toward the military? Was it family? Like what, we know you're an athlete, right? And then you went to VMI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's start from high school.
Okay.
Playing sports, and then we'll kind of, give a little bit of how your life went on.
Yeah, we jump into it?
Ready, go. Yes.
All right. So I did play sports. My parents each parent had a different sport that they were pulling for me to play. Mm-hmm. Mom wanted me to play football. Dad was a professional basketball coach for a lot of my childhood. Nice. Yeah, stepdad wanted me to wrestle. And being that my dad was a coach, a lot of these sports, my parents would kind of sideline coach me or coach me on the way home. Good and bad. And absolutely. Having mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad, grandparents, there were a lot of big coaching staff we had for just, one little kid who was bad at most sports. And was there brothers and sisters that you were growing up with? Yes and no. So I have two younger sisters. They're 3 and 6 years younger than me, respectively. Check. They weren't really interested in sports as little kids. My brothers are 12 and 15 years younger than me, respectively. Kids, yeah. My youngest brother just got a baseball scholarship to go to college, so he's the sporty one. Where'd he go to? He just started his freshman year last month at Cal State LA. Nice. And where did he go to high school? Playing baseball, Buchanan. Oh, also. Buchanan too. Oh yeah. Man, well, congratulations to him. Yeah. So they saw you because they're it's a whole generation. I was the first kid of the whole generation, our family or my parents' friends. Put some stress on you for the sports. No pressure, right? Yeah. So finally I got to junior high after trying wrestling, baseball, track, soccer, football, everything else. And I found water polo. And water polo was something that not only is it kind of hard to backseat or sideline coach because you just kind of see their head. Everybody's a foot tall. And at the end of the game, if the kid doesn't drown and, is not bleeding from too many orifices, hey, great game, kid. Yeah. You get in the car, you're not stinky. It's fantastic. Yeah. But the best part was my parents didn't know anything about it. That's what I was just going to ask you. I didn't have any older family members who had played. It was just, hey, man, get in there. Sounds great. Your entire uniform cost for the year is about $40. Yeah. So get in there and do your best. And I found that I enjoyed it. I was good at it. And it was really hard. Did you... Sometimes is it a mandatory thing? Do they have you sometimes swim too? Do you have to be on the swim team too? Or is that a mandatory thing? Or? Unless you're real good at another sport and you can rationalize getting out and playing volleyball or track or whatever else. You're swimming. Everyone else is swimming. Yeah. Now, swimming is the most boring sport there is. It's not even like cross country where occasionally the landscape will change and you can cross a tree. Yeah. No, you're looking down, holding your breath, looking at tile. Yeah. If you're fast, hopefully short. And what were you? Not as fast? So I was a goalie playing water polo. Geez. So I had even less interest in swimming. Yeah. So I'd get in there, do the breaststroke. I was really good at sprinting. Relay? Yeah, because a lot of relays. Yeah. When you're playing water polo and the ball pops out or you block a shot, it's now a race between you and the closest guy. Check. Gotcha. So I want to swim as fast as I can. I want my elbows to be up right at his face level. And I just hope he doesn't push me. Yeah. I swam. Like but 50? Oh, yeah. A lot of 50 free, 100 free. That's about the length of yours. Then you're dying. Yes. I'll do 50 butterfly. Love butterfly. But I did that. And it actually wasn't sports that drove me to join the military. It was my interest in the military that drove my selection of my sport. Okay. Elaborate. So when I was a kid, especially in elementary school, junior high, I was more of a nerdy kid. I loved reading books, historical fiction stuff, military history, all that. And all these larger than life figures I'd read about were guys like Dan Daly and John Basilone and Chesty Puller and Smedley Butler and these very famous decorated Marines. And I found that the thing they all had in common was they were Marines. They were in this amphibious force where on land and in the water and in the air, you have to be just as deadly as every other place. So I realized, okay, this is a small branch. It's sometimes not celebrated as much, underfunded, and it has this big push toward you cannot be fat in this sport.
Yeah.
You cannot be out of shape in high school water polo.
Yeah.
Football, sure. You're a lineman. Yeah, get a little tubby, whatever else. That didn't pass in water polo. And I said, wow, I love all this Marine Corps thing and all the colors and these heroes and all this stuff. This is really the Marine Corps of high school sports.
Right.
That's what drove me to play water polo. And after 4 years of that, if I was going to go to college, which is what nerds do, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to enlist and then go eat crayons and luge volcanoes and slay dragons and the whole thing.
Yep.
But if I'm going to go to college, I want to keep playing water polo in college. And I want to go to a college that I've seen in some of these books, like somewhere where Chesty Puller went.
Right.
And so the choice came down. I enlisted my senior year, spring of my senior year, to go join the Marine Corps because at 14, I was down there at the recruiting station begging them to let me in.
Yeah, 14, yeah.
Yeah, and they said, kid, you need to start high school first and then ideally finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. I worked out with them for those years throughout high school while I was playing water polo. We do dry land practice, and I'm the one out there yelling cadence for all the boys. Enlisted, but before my boot camp date of October after graduation, found out I got the ROTC scholarship. And I got into UCLA, and I got into some insane mental asylum in Virginia, the Virginia Military Institute.
Exactly.
And my parents said, this is great. You can stay in California. You can go to UCLA. You're going to get a great, and they turn around and I'm over here doing push-ups in my VMI shirt. Yeah. With the high and tight. And they're like, you tool bag. All right. I guess we're going to Virginia. And that was the genesis of that. And
how'd you like it out there?
I loved it. I knew I needed some discipline after high school. I knew that left to my own devices, had I gone to a different school, maybe been better at chugging beer, maybe been better at, flirting or dressing myself or whatever. But I knew I needed a little left and right lateral limits, right?
Right.
VMI provided all that. So was it fun being there? Maybe in a little masochistic way. Yeah. Since I was already all spooled up on those things, but more importantly, it provided me some amazing opportunities I never would have gotten anywhere else. Well,
and also too is anybody gets out of that school, just from, clout is concerned. Where'd you go to college? VMI. People are like, oh, like the ears prop up. Like, oh, really? Tell me more about that. It's just like going to West Point, to Annapolis, and a couple of the other Citadel. Those are all good schools. That people, when they get out of there, is more top notch, and people will more apt to hire you in a job because they know your foundation, is way more solid than chugging beers at, UCLA.
Correct.
There's no problem with that. Just in case anybody on the camera wants to know, you can go to UCLA. It's fine. So what made you, because then, correct me if I'm wrong, VMI, you can go to any branch, correct? You can get commissioned.
It's just like any other state-funded school.
Yeah.
Not mandated. In fact, 65% usually commission out of VMI.
Yeah. So, but then you can pick branch, correct?
Well, if you're on a commissioning program. So I went ROTC. I had an ROTC scholarship, which allowed me to commission.
To the Marine Corps? Only,
correct.
Because you got the scholarship through the Marine Corps.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just graduating from VMI does not get you into any.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So you already had that prior to going in. So you knew you were going to go. Then from there, obviously there's a ton of options as, a second lieutenant. What made you choose to get in a helicopter?
Was not my first choice. It honestly wasn't. So when I enlisted originally,
I really want to know, Doc. It really wasn't my first choice.
It wasn't. I didn't join the Marine Corps to fly. In fact, we had a pilot come in and visit us, I think junior year, and I saw him in his flight suit, and I said, that looks sloppy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't look like a Marine.
That's a good point.
I don't like the little hat.
Yeah.
Any of that. I was like, it was ridiculous. But when I enlisted originally in high school, I got a job, because you go take the ASVAB, and I got sent up to MEPS to go take the D-Lab, and I got a job as a cryptologic linguist, translator, interpreter. It's like, this is sweet. I grew up as a kid speaking foreign languages. I like foreign languages. I took 4 years of French in high school. This is going to be great. And the test showed that I was good at picking up new languages. So I go to VMI, I agree to this whole officer thing, and I said, all right, well, if I'm going to be an officer, I want to do the same thing, but as an officer. So I get there, and they say, all right, you guys are... you graduated. Congratulations. Here's your nice fancy uniform. Here's your big golden bars. You're going to TBS. We get to TBS. You look at the list of jobs and surprise, surprise, translator is not a job for officers.
No.
Instead of the 250 jobs for an enlisted Marine, there are about 20 you get to pick from.
I know.
Well, joke's on me. Just like when they told me I could go join the water polo team at VMI.
Yeah.
Turns out you had to start it yourself because it didn't exist. So we did.
Missed it by that much.
Well, VMI taught me something.
Yeah.
Right. That unlike the Naval Academy, unlike West Point, the schools where you can go, you're guaranteed when you graduate, you get to commission.
Yeah.
You're paid while you're there.
Yeah.
Right? You get a lot of attention. The sports, great sports and great this and that and facilities and all these trips. VMI is a state-funded school. The state of Virginia does not have bountiful hordes of gold they can just throw at the Virginia Military Institute.
Yeah.
So if you wanted something to happen, if you wanted to get a trip, you wanted to do an exchange program, you wanted a new sport,
got to fund it yourself.
you got to find a way to fund it. So I went there looking to play water polo, did my freshman year. There was a lot on my plate at that point.
Yeah.
Sophomore year, I got with one of the freshmen and said, hey man, you're from California. You play water polo. Why don't we start a team?
Yeah. So it'd be like a club thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He said, why not? So we did. We started the team. We designed Speedos. We started making phone calls to the University of Virginia and Georgia Tech and, all these other places, Virginia Tech. Hey, you have anybody there we can spar against, have a little scrimmage?
Yep.
So we were just traveling around Virginia in our little ragtag van, starting a water polo team. But there were other opportunities too that we can get into later through VMI that we found a way to beg, borrow, steal, kill, maim to get something we needed.
Right.
Point being, graduate from there. Being that I lived in my room with 3 other Marine options, we're very competitive. So every PFT, we're going out, seeing who can run the fastest, who can do the most pull-ups. Everything was a competition. Someone came down right before graduation and said, all right, boys, we need you all the Marine options to come down and take this AFQT, this aviation, see if you qualify to be a pilot. Well, I said, well, I don't know, and I don't care about being a pilot, but I do care about beating all you guys on something different.
Exactly, yeah.
So we went in there and, you put the headphones on, you're doing the joy, and we all, and I qualified to be a pilot.
How about the other 2 guys?
Oh, no, my other 3 roommates didn't make it. But we get to TBS, and I go, this is perfect. I'm going to go to TBS, I'll have this flight contract. I'll dangle it and say, hey, listen, I want to go into human intelligence.
Right, so you would be in charge.
Closest thing to,
you're just running the boys.
Absolutely. But it's close, and I like it, and I like people. And I'll just dangle this, hey, someone else is going to want this flight contract. Let's make a little trade. Well, there was one spot for human intelligence when I graduated in June of 2014. There was a girl in our TBS company whose dad is a 3-star general who really wanted that job. So I didn't get that job.
Yeah.
So I held on to my flight contract. I said, fine, I'll do the pilot thing. But if I fly, if I go to flight school, I play the whole game, I go to work in the pajamas, I do everything else. I want to fly Hueys because that seems sweet.
Yeah.
And I want to fly them in Hawaii because that seems pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So throughout flight school, I did what I had to do. Started in the airplanes, the Cessna, and then did the everything else. Got to the end and made sure I ended up in the perfect spot to get Hueys, Hawaii.
Right. And is that like a lot of things, ranking in your class, when you're in flight school?
A little bit. A lot of it is luck of the draw, which needs of the Marine Corps is something that we would hear so often.
Yeah.
So just like TBS, that month that we graduated, there was one human intel slot. The class before me, out of flight school, I think they had 1 jet seat and 8 Osprey seats. None of those guys wanted to fly Ospreys. No. Guess what? They all became Osprey pilots. Yeah. Luckily for me, there was a helicopter spot. There was a Huey spot specifically, and there was one in Hawaii. So it was awesome.
Did you full tour over there? Like 4 years?
I did about 5.5 years.
5.5 years.
So I did, it took me probably 2017 to get out to Hawaii to hit the fleet.
Oh, right.
Did a lot of Western Pacific kind of things.
Yep.
And then my orders were up to leave Hawaii. I said, well, I don't want to leave Hawaii yet. How can I figure out a way to stay? Well, there was an infantry unit right down the road there at Kaneohe Bay who needed, they wanted a FAC. They wanted a JTAC, someone who could speak pilot and go out and blow anything up that their rifles couldn't handle.
Right.
I said, this is perfect. It's like a race, right? You can drag your butt the whole race, but the last 100 meters you want to sprint.
Yeah.
So before I get off active duty, I want to go cuss and spit and dip and fart and yell and get rained on and be in the sand and with the boys. So I did. Went to JTAC school, got qualified for that. Went and jumped in with 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines.
Oh, I did. Nice.
Extended my tour. Did about a year and a half with them. It was great.
Yeah.
Did a little Westpac deployment. Actually got to visit Civic Bay. Yeah. Some South China Sea stuff. And then...
Did you have to go the other way, downrange that way? Or was that kind of done like Afghanistan? And
yeah, for Huey pilots, there wasn't much going on. Yeah. And then none of the infantry units were really getting deployed at this point.
Anymore, yeah.
Yeah, that was 2020, 2021.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah, we were drawn down.
Well, it's one of the things too is that's, Trump didn't put more people, on the ground as much, or at least amount as possible. So,
sure.
Thank God for, our men and women, we didn't hardly lose anybody in those 4 years.
the skeleton crew there.
Yeah.
So after that,
it's funny because, we talked with service members, I do talking to a lot of veterans and things like that. And it's funny how the things ebbs and flows, or some people, react to, oh, no, this guy's not a combat veteran, and this guy's a this and that, and this. It's funny because I wasn't either, and I would never. And there's a lot of posers out there. One of the things when you're on a podcast like this, I think just the way I grew up being in the SEAL team, I'm not going to make up anything I never did. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's funny because you got the Vietnam guys. I'm a post-Vietnam guy, right? Because I joined in 78, maybe 72, 73, 74. Everybody left. But then Desert Storm, I'm not going to say it didn't count, but, it's like 9 months. And I don't even think we lost anybody. But people use that because they did go down range for that and nobody did anything there. But as a combat vet, really, then you got 10 more years. 2001, people all jump into the military. Nobody went anywhere for 3 more years or something like that until, we went over. So I tell people, and that's why I still go back to that guy, the former Vietnam vet. And he was like, hey, man, we did our time. Thank God we were able to, support what we do and support our country. If things happen, we would be there.
Absolutely.
And with bells on. But we didn't have to, live with some of the horrors that some of these people live with. And I thank God every night before I go to bed, for that. Now, what can we do? Like you're trying to get into the government aspect, as a military person, you're going to do your best you can, if everything goes right for you, to kind of make things even better, for our military guys, if that comes up, in the politics and whatnot, because you're there. You're going to fight for the men and women that did serve our country. You know what I mean? That's kind of cool. So when did you get out formally?
I will let you know.
Oh, you're still in?
I am.
Reserves?
Yes.
Oh,
so
nice.
At the end of that active duty tour with the infantry, I rolled to the reserves in October of 22. And then that allowed me to move home, take the next step with my fiance, be back here with my family.
Nice. So where did you do your time? When you go down south to Pendleton? Reserve?
Usually, yes. Yeah. So we drill out of actually Eastern LA. Bell,
check.
California.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, a little station there. Yeah. But we'll go to Camp Pendleton. We'll go to San Clemente Island. Lately, my area of responsibility has been North Africa because I'm still qualified to be an interpreter for the Marine Corps in French. So, been there twice in the last year.
Yeah.
But
now where are you at now? Major?
Yeah. I just got promoted to major end of June.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty good on the timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations. That's no easy task for anybody. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody who's never been in the military, getting up to that level, that's good. You plan on staying? If you get elected, you have to get out?
Absolutely not.
Okay, you can stay in reserves. And
we had one guy get elected to Fresno City Council and then immediately go on an 18-month deployment.
Oh my God. Yeah. Before I started doing a lot of the podcasts, I started the podcast a couple of years ago. Then it kind of stalled a little bit on me. Just what life gets in the way, business and whatever. But I did sit across the table from Gary Bredefield, crazy guy, funny guy. He's got some good stories too, military type stuff. Not obviously from the combatives or our background, but a good guy, great conversationalist. You know what I mean? But I don't think he was the guy that deployed.
It wasn't him.
It wasn't him. But so do you plan on making it 20 if things go right? Because what do you got in now? You got in 12?
Yeah, I'm on year 12.
12, okay.
So there are some other reserve units that I could probably go join. There are some more that kind of interest me, because at a certain unit, you get to a certain billet and a certain grade, and you don't get used for the things that you're good at. Yeah. And I'm starting to run into that now.
Especially as a major.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot more desk work.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got, I think, 14 majors in this. My unit is a company.
Yeah.
We're a company with a lieutenant colonel as a commander, about 14 majors, like 9 captains. It's very, very top heavy, which is weird. Yeah. But that's the way. I'm in an Anglico, an air naval gunfire liaison company now.
So is it hard to find seat time? Because everybody's vying for flight time, or can you get? So
seat time is a funny thing because I haven't flown since I moved to the infantry.
Oh, no way.
No, I'm not flying anymore.
No, you're not. I mean, are you qualified technically?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have my civilian commercial license and everything.
But are there certain things you have to keep qualified, especially from a reserve point? Do you got to get up on the helicopter every once in a while or is it like riding a bike?
To fly, no. They don't care, and I don't really have any desire to. It was really fun.
Yeah.
It's like living across the street from Disneyland after you've ridden all the rides 9 times.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do have to go control aircraft. I'm a JTAC now.
Yeah.
I got to go control aircraft. I got to go at night, control rotor wing aircraft with direct fire munitions at night.
Check.
I have to go during the day, while moving in a vehicle in an urban environment, yada, yada.
Yep. Oh, nice. Yeah. Does that, and now, how much the only interpreting comes around if it need be, correct?
We do. So one of the missions of our unit is partner nation training. So every year we kind of fan out to the 4 winds.
Yeah.
We go to Morocco, Denmark, Scotland, Brazil, you name it.
And as obviously French from the Northern Africa point of view, that's mainly French, isn't it?
Yes.
Language wise, yeah.
Northern, Western, Central Africa.
Yeah. Big French. So let's see. You got active duty, and how long reserves now? How long have you been in reserves?
Coming up on 2 years.
Oh, 2 years now. Okay. Yeah. So
Next
you're
month.
kind of figuring out whether you're going to do 20. Yeah. You're kind of at the deciding factor at 12. You're just like, ooh, do I, get 8 more in? And
Closest alligator to the boat.
yeah.
If I don't have to make that decision tomorrow, I'm not making the decision tomorrow.
Just keep going until they make it for you. I mean, yeah, that'd be kind of awesome if, you get out as a lieutenant colonel. It's always, just nice feather in your cap.
Sure.
From that point of view, as far as the service, because it always bodes well. And obviously if you continue in politics and things like that, that definitely bodes well. Because, I personally think, and obviously as a veteran, anytime I see anybody that has some service time, I'm going to sit down with. Because no matter what, there's still some camaraderie. Like you said in the beginning when we were just chatting away, from a political point of view, everybody could have their different opinions. Half the time, it's like, it doesn't matter to me.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And but it's like making sure we're taking care of the people in our community, making sure we're taking care of our veterans, things of that nature. That's what's the big thing for me, and that's why I was kind of curious for me to kind of give you a call and go, hey, man. Love to just get across the table and just chat with you, about that. So with that being said, just kind of moving along from the progress of your life, what in the heck made you kind of think about going into politics, especially nowadays?
Being a masochist. So if I liked the easy life, I could, shut my mouth and go fly for the airlines and make $300K a year and just enjoy the nice, coasting life. But I would never have joined the Marine Corps in the first place if I just wanted the easy thing.
You would have been an Air Force guy.
I would have been an Air Force guy. Yeah. Shoot, I would have just,
We make fun of the Air Force.
Sky West.
Yeah.
But it was really coming home back to, we're familiar with Buchanan High School, a very patriotic place.
Oh, yeah.
It's lost more of its veterans or of its graduates to combat since it was founding than any other school in the nation.
Yeah.
And it was that formation, that education as a kid, that when I came home and I realized I was paying attention, but I realized that the Fresno city council member, were geographically arranged in Fresno, unlike some other places. Yeah. So the area where I was, born and raised and grew up and met my fiance and went to elementary school and all this, he's the only city council member who has worn any uniform of any type, police, fire, military, you name it. Yeah. And we got 20,000 veterans in Fresno who were just about to lose that voice in City Hall. Mm-hmm. So I kind of talked to my family about it. I talked to my fiance about it. I thought did some good chewing and meditating and reading and this and that. And I realized that if I come home and I'm able to run for this seat, I'm able to be that voice and speak up for those people, not just to mention them, but without getting too much into the politics, we have a 6-1 city council. We don't have a 6-1 city.
No.
Well, go figure, that one is also the only veteran.
Yeah.
So I can either decide to speak up for that one group, right, who's vastly outnumbered as far as representation, and all the veterans who are about to lose their voice. And if I turn that down, if I refuse that mission, that's an abdication of responsibility.
100%.
That's me having the stick and having the tools in my cockpit and deciding that's the mission. Nah, it might be dangerous or inconvenient or uncomfortable. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, just stay on the deck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a really, really good point. So we have no other, just Bredfield is the only veteran.
He is.
But we have a fairly conservative city, but the city council is a little more liberal.
It is 6-1.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yes.
6-1.
And some of those I'm sure are a little more moderate and some maybe aren't. But I can guarantee you, the city, it varies, but at least in my district and a lot of the other ones, it's in the 40% or so.
Yeah. It's ironic when you talk to, we'll just call them the regular, minions, outside City Hall and the city council. I mainly bump shoulders and elbows with conservatives more so.
Could also be geographically, you know, it could also be kind of where we are.
You know what? Very good point. Because even though where we are technically in Clovis here, which the south of Herndon, what is this one?
This is a different city. This is Clovis.
Oh, that's Clovis. Jeez, what am I talking about? Yeah, that's right.
But right across Willow, where it becomes Fresno,
Fresno.
Unless you're looking at the street signs, you wouldn't know you're in Fresno.
Yeah.
Because the way of life and the grocery stores and the schools.
Check. Yeah.
It's still the Clovis lifestyle.
Until you go south of Shaw.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Wow. That's a big road to hoe. You know, road to hoe.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is. I knew it wasn't going to be easy.
So when did you sign? Like, because obviously you got to get a petition, you got to get people to sign. Like, how long ago did that start before knowing that we got the elections coming up?
So I declared in February of 23.
Gotcha. So
there was one candidate in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, 19 months ago or so.
Is that the same one that's in there now?
No. In fact, candidates have come and gone. There were 6 of us in this race at one point. And there was another guy, he was another veteran, who was the first to announce. And so I said, okay, I think he could do a good job at this, but I think I might be able to do better.
Yeah.
But the first thing
then you go back to the Marine Corps, right? You have your 3 buddies from VMI.
Exactly. There it is.
This is only me and him. It's only 2 this time, but I think I can beat him.
But also, there was no need for me and him to disagree, right, or to fight each other. Yeah. We're just, hey, we're going to compete to make sure the folks who live in this district, District 6, have the best option to pick from, right? Sense. Maybe it is you, maybe it is. Anyway, so the first thing I did was I found his phone number. I gave him a call. I said, listen, I'm Nick. I'm the guy running against you. I want to sit down and have coffee. All right? I want to just find out who you are as a guy, let you know who I am as a guy.
Yep.
And let's make sure we stay on good terms. Call me if you need something. I'll call you if your sign gets knocked down or whatever. Let's not fall into the yes. Oh, the sign thing was
now. Yeah. I read some stuff on that. It's like, oh my God, so petty.
But anyway, it is. But we did. I met him. We sat down. I still have a great relationship. He's not in the race anymore.
And what was his, say that guy's a vet, what was his, is it become finance? Does it become, family? Does it, when a guy like this that you kind of knew had coffee with on the other side of the table, what was his reason to just bow out? He's like, I'm good. You could do better.
Health reasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It came down to health stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll pray for the guy.
Yeah. One was health reasons. One was kind of family obligations. And then come primary time in March of 2024, right, there were 4 of us left. So of the 6 candidates, it came down to 4, and out of those 4 from the primary, the top 2 went on.
Yeah.
So it was me and my current opponent. And I had 2 goals when I launched this campaign. I said, all right, we're not going to do this if it's not effective.
Right.
And the votes were proof of that. But the second thing, being a Marine and coming from VMI and being stubborn and opinionated, I said, we're going to do this thing the right way. Every time, the whole way, the right way. And proof of that, because, you got to get through debates and forums and this and that and ads. And there's always a way that you can be a slime ball. It's very easy. And I mean, turn on the news. You can see people being slime balls at every single level of government. Yeah. But I refuse to do that. So the sign to me that we were doing things the right way is when candidate number 6 and candidate number 5 and number 4 and number 3, who were no longer in the race, all came out and endorsed me.
See, that's awesome.
They say, hey, we were opponents on paper. Yeah. You came at this respectfully. We think you have good ideas. We like the way that you run shop. We're on board with you. That meant a lot to me. Yeah. Now I feel like I got the team on my back. I'm carrying the team.
Also, too, is just some of the information I read on you, a little bit of background. You've been a Republican since 18 years old, like since you were able. Yeah,
first registered. Yeah.
First registered. You know what I mean? And to me personally, that means a lot to me. Because I did the same thing. You know what I mean? Very conservative. Christian values. Grew up in New York, like I mentioned before. And that was kind of intriguing to me. When I was reading through some of your information, it's just like, the guys, from day one has not wavered. You know what I mean? And that's kind of a cool factor to me. Then that's why it's like, hey man, we sound this guy. Especially as a veteran. A young guy that's trying to make a difference. Because sometimes we have. A little bit older people running the government.
That's a very diplomatic way to put that.
And I mean that old guy category, but I don't feel it mentally or physically. But you see some of the stuff as though it's like when I've been following over since March. a lot of your stuff. Matter of fact, I think you were, I was going to drive over there too, because I think you had one day, maybe it was March or April, you were over on the corner of Willow and Nice near the St. Mark area. Did you pop in there one day, like a little rally type of thing? Is that
into the St. Mart?
Mm-hmm. Like, did you have to, like did you do public?
So in March, we did
didn't you have like, there's a bunch of people with some of your banners and stuff like that?
Yeah. That was on election day. It was on March 5th.
Oh, okay. That's, yeah. I probably was one of those guys beeping the horn as I'm driving by and everything like that, fist bumping and everything is like, it was right in that corner, the Arco, the St. Mark Center, right at the corner there.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I just remember that. I was like, I'm going to go talk to that guy one of these days.
Absolutely.
So, what are some of the things that you think when you got into it, you're like, hey, listen, everything's going to be cool. Everybody's going to be polite. Everybody's going to be, non-backstabbing, throwing shade on you and things like that. When you first went in, did you think to yourself that, hey, listen, this is going to be cool, competition, VMI, 3 Marines always competing on something. And, when one guy wins, it's still fist bump, handshake, bro hug. Did that happen when you first initially stepped into the race?
When I first initially stepped into this race, yes, it did.
And now?
Now?
A little different?
Not that way.
Yeah.
Every one of my opponents, as soon as I met them, some of them I had a gift for them, actual gift. Yeah. One of the guys, actually my current opponent, has a compass as part of his logo on his signs. Who loves compasses more than pilots and lost
military
foresters?
Guys. Even more, and team guys.
Exactly. Anyone but a second lieutenant.
Yeah, right.
So I said, hey, I know I'm going to meet him. So when I meet him, he has the compass thing. I have a love of compasses. It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
Big on metaphors.
Yeah.
So I went down to the military supply store. I got a military grade Lensatic compass.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And when I first met him, I said, hey, let me run in my car. Let's sit down.
Yeah.
So I did. I said, hey, I'm Nick. Nice to meet you. I'm looking forward to this thing. I want you to know I'm not out there talking trash on you. I'd appreciate it if you're doing the same, but I can't tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Just know that this is my phone number. Here's how to get a hold of me. Anything weird pops up, don't be a stranger. Yeah. By the way, I got you this compass. We're getting into a career and an environment where a lot of people lose their moral compass. They lose that moral north. So
great play on words.
Man, if you start getting into that, arena, and you start kind of thinking about...
Look at the compass on your desk.
I just want you to remember.
Yeah.
There you go. And he looked at me like I had a foot growing out of my face. Because you're meeting your opponent in a campaign. Yeah. You're expecting him to come in and, I'm going to win this thing, you punk. And I don't know, go all Clint Eastwood, get off my lawn on him. But A, there's no reason for that. And B, that's not really my personality.
No. Yeah.
Even in the water polo game, you elbow me in the face, I'm going to get the blood out of there and make some silly face at you or something to push on.
You get more bees with honey.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And,
absolutely.
And which I think is, that's just, that's just not bad form. That's good form. That's just like perfect. You go in there and you go, hey, listen, we're going to, take the gloves off in a very professional way. Even MMA, there's rules and regulations. People abide by it. Then you get the guys that are, the snakes or the guys that
they want to go bite and
finger poking or whatever. It's like, no, man, just, let's just go through the issues and things like that.
But when those times come up, right, you're doing an interview and you have a chance to get out there and really slam the other guy or run it. It's a lot harder to do that if the guy was really nice to you.
Yeah, 100%.
It's easier if the guy's a putz.
Yep.
You're like, screw him back.
From your district right now, what do you think are some of the issues that that are like hit home to you? Like these are your foundation pieces. Like these are the things that you really feel. What's a good word I'm looking for?
Conviction, passion.
Yeah, like your passion. Yeah, like what are the things right now? You got ticket items that you look at. Like, so listen, these are things that I think that's going on in our district, in the city. What are your pet peeves that you want to try and fix?
So there are a lot, but what I've had to learn to do is to silence those. I got all kinds of things that I'd like to do.
Yeah,
but I'm not working for me when I get there.
Great point.
So every block and every neighborhood that we go visit, they have a different concern. And it's not my job to go proselytize and be up there and say what I think for District 6.
Gotcha.
I think that first and foremost, the people's voice belongs at the reins of government.
So with that being said, what do most of the people in your district think?
That's a fantastic question.
Yes.
Number one, public safety to include homelessness. Number two.
In our area?
Yes, in District 6.
Woodward Park area?
Woodward Park?
Yeah.
Everything north of Bullard between Blackstone and Willow.
Hey, man, you control also River Park too, right?
River Park, Blackstone and Knees.
Yeah, there's a lot of,
100%.
I like that because safety, obviously homelessness. And also too, with homelessness, what do you think we can do better, as a community to combat that? And that could be another 5 hours, of course, but just like in a nutshell.
Give you some bullet points, some things that we could do better.
Yeah.
One, we can use the function of the planning department
right
down at City Hall, right, the special projects portion to allocate, all right, with the permission or at least with the initiative of the city council members from all 7 districts. Start off with half an acre. You pick half an acre in the 7 different districts of the city.
Oh, right, gotcha.
First, you allocate that for expedient building. Now we reach out to the nonprofits, your Poverello House, your Fresno Mission. You get them because they have the money. They have the funding. They don't have space. In fact, they have a $2 million contract. They were given that money from the city to build small homes as quickly as possible for the homeless.
Check, right.
Now, the problem is they weren't given a location. And the city refuses because we have what's called the NIMBYs, right? The not in my backyards. Hey, you need to build these homes for great, where? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Ask one of the other 6.
Yeah, right.
Nope. You suck it up. You, as a city council member, you make the unpopular decision. We're going to use this spot right here because it doesn't pose a threat or harm to anybody else. Next step is you vet all the families who are already in transitional housing, individuals or families. They have to be in a work program, drug rehab program, counseling program.
We have buildings like that already, right? Those transitional.
Transitional, yes. Yeah. It's hard to find them, but we do have some.
Yeah, like I think is there one near Poverello House, like south of Chancey?
There are a few.
Yeah. Railroad tracks and stuff like that.
That's hotbed.
So that transition means, we're trying to get, them squared away to get back on their feet again. Transition
means you are out of the shelter. Yeah. You are in a house where you are responsible for taking care of things. And sometimes they'll even help with the rent. But the next stage from transitional housing is permanent housing, or at least semi-permanent housing for an individual or a family. So we get them in there, all right? Then we can start clearing out the backlog of the transitional housing, of the shelter, and then finally getting people off the streets.
So from off the street, and then, this is just, you may done way more research on this because this is kind of something that you're kind of campaigning on. What do you think the percentage of, with the homeless people, that are from illness or just, lack of a better term, hard times?
That's a great question. Yeah. So based on the PIT, which is the point in time survey they do in theory every year, but skip this year.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
I can tell you that roughly 60% of them have something to do with mental illness and to include addiction.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So because sometimes mental illness is a result of too much drugs.
Or vice versa. Sometimes it's the cause, sometimes it's the effect.
Check, right. You have a mental illness that you give medication to try and help them out with that just makes it go down a slippery slope.
But here's the best part. When we get them into these housing, right, it has to be a triage. It has to be a triage on the front side, which we do. You got to scan them for warrants, right? You have to make sure that if you are a violent felon or you are a, sex offender, you're not going in the houses. Yeah. Sorry. You're going to find somewhere else.
Right.
If you need the drug counseling, you need addiction rehab, whatever. You need job counseling, educational stuff. You need childcare. We triage them as they go into the housing, filtering through one at a time to make sure that we give those services to the people at the point in time. Now we reach out to Fresno Pacific, Fresno State, Fresno City College, ROP, and CART programs. All the kids who want to go into social services, clinical psychology, family counseling, maybe even law, right? They want to go into pre-law. They want to do some immigration or family law. You start getting them study and work credits for helping manage these cases so the county isn't just absolutely overloaded.
Great idea.
Now we're again, that's the pull of the lawnmower where it starts going on its own.
There's no money aspect because these work studies, they just get to put on a resume.
This whole solution costs the city nothing. Not to mention, say you own the land that has been decided that, hey, either you volunteer it or something else. Yeah. You pick that land, you get your plot, your half acre assessed at $2.5 million. Yeah. You donate that to the Poverello House. Yeah, guess who's not paying taxes this year?
Yeah.
and probably next year.
Yep, exactly. Because you're getting a write-off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The more solutions we can find, which they're out there, you got to think outside the box.
Yeah.
But you find solutions that don't cost taxpayers money. That is what efficient government is.
Yeah, and the tough part is like me in the medical field is like a lot of the medical professionals. It's just a big push on just pharmaceuticals. A prime example of a patient of mine. He's a paramedic. He works with the fire department, and one day he had a call, the side of one of the freeways, 168 or whatever, a couple tents and whatever, and there's a gentleman distressed, and somebody calls 911. The guy comes over, paramedic comes over, and he's like, "Oh my God, whoever." Guy's name, I don't know, Johnny. Johnny's a homeless guy now, but he knew him before his drug addiction, and he was a PA or nurse.
No way.
But got caught up.
Access to
himself. Then wound up having a drug problem, wound up getting a divorce, wound up losing a wife and kids, wound up losing his job, and spiral. You know what I mean? And that's one of the sad stories, because that guy, highly educated professional, and just,
with a desirable skill set,
and then just what's going on with the medical profession with our drugs and the pharmaceutical companies, and I'll tell that all day long, and I'll hang my hat on that one. It just pisses me off. You know what I mean?
Two of the things that I was most proud of when I was on active duty, it's not how well I could shoot rockets and this and that. It was, I got a little award, most successful substance abuse counseling program and suicide prevention program of any of the Marines out in the Pacific Ocean. That was great to me, not because it showed how deadly and violent and vicious I was, making sure bad guys didn't go home.
Yeah.
But that was, all the men and women and boys and girls who were constantly signing, like you said, this blank check.
Right.
Could go serve their country and then come home, right? Not affected by overwhelming substance abuse.
Yeah.
Not in a position mentally where they felt like they needed to take their own life, right? That's what meant the most to me. So coming to city council with an idea, coming at it from the standpoint of, we have to look at mental health. It's not nothing. It's 100%, not silly.
100%.
We have to look at substance abuse because that's like you said, it's a spiral, right? You take those and crime, and you've got the perfect fire triangle there to exacerbate homelessness.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you take the drugs and all of a sudden they want to fix, and what are they going to do? They're going to try and
whatever they need to do,
which then becomes a criminal act. You know what I mean? And then we're losing lives, from there. That's definitely really, really admirable format that and platform that you're working on. So that say one, and you coming into this election, you say, listen, I got 3 big things, I got 2 big things. Like what would be another? Is there another thing that you're kind of hanging your hat on that another issue that is bugging the crap out of you?
Yes, and again, it's bugging the crap out of folks.
No,
right?
Yes, your constituents. Yes.
Yes. So the homelessness, public safety.
Listen, I'm going to give you some credit, because before you talk to your constituents, you in your military career were already, that was something that was stuck in your craw with our military, whether it's the medications they're giving them, whether it's a post-traumatic stress or whatever, that addiction type of thing. That was way before coming to here. So if somebody says to you, oh, he's just jumping on this, type of format or whatever because, it's a hot issue. No, you can say, listen, in the past, as a younger buck, you're having these issues with, not issues, but concerns with people's health, as a young Marine. You know what I mean? So that one there, nobody can ever say to you, man, he's jumping on that one because, everybody's, complaining about that, including your constituents.
Oh, sure.
So that's kind of cool. Like, so the next one, what's the next thing that you think people's, their hot button is?
Well, public safety. Public safety, the response time of first responders, right? Homelessness, again, contributes to public safety.
Yeah.
But in talking to the police and the firefighters, I found out they have an issue with retention, not necessarily hiring. Hiring will go up and down. But how do you help first responders maintain, we struggle with retention in the military.
Yeah.
How do you keep guys from getting out? Whether they leave geographically, they lat move to some other job, or they just get, at the point that they're trained 3 or 4 years, turns out that's where we struggle the most with their with retention. So again, as a fiscal conservative, how do you find a solution that doesn't cost the taxpayers a bunch of money to
keep
retain?
these guys in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to pick up and move, different location, say you're a cop, you want to be a cop somewhere else. 2 things that you take into account, the 2 biggest deciding factors when you decide where you're going to go, which city. 1, what am I going to do for work? Kind of settled that. All right, You're a cop. Fine. 2, where are my kids going to go to school?
Right.
What are the schools like? Are they good? Are they bad? Do I need to go private? And this is from, daycare age kids all the way up through graduate. Maybe you don't have kids, but it's still something you take into consideration. So as a city, how do we relay to our firefighters, our police, our sheriff's deputies, CHP,
First
whatever,
responder.
veterans? We'll even throw veterans in there.
Yeah.
How do you convey to them that the city cares about you, wants you here, wants to invest in you without just throwing money at the problem, right? Something that actually benefits their family. Well, if you have kids and you're putting, Susie and Timmy through school,
right,
whether it's daycare, again, private school, all the way through the college level, that's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, that can be up to $40,000 if the kid's in college.
Yeah,
you want to send your kid to St. Anthony's, or God forbid, you got one in daycare and one in college. Now you're up, $50,000, $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
So instead of, again, just throwing money at that as a city, why don't we develop a network of all the private education, or at least childcare providers in the city? That way they know there's this Fresno regional incentivized educational network of discounted schools, which spells friends because Marines need acronyms,
Yep.
Why don't we work with the public, or the private schools rather, in the area to just provide discounted education? Has it been done? I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's go talk to him and have the conversation. Right. So I did. I went to the director of Fresno Christian. I went to the director of Cardin. I've gone to the daycares. I went to Fresno Pacific. I've gone here and there, asking the individuals who have this decision, or at least have some of the sway. And across the board, it's like I just turn the lights on in a dark room.
Right.
I go, I don't know. We have discounts for children of clergy
Yeah.
or legacy kid.
Right.
But why don't we have discounts for cops?
Yeah.
So it's very well received. And again, this costs nothing, but it really means a world of difference to the first responder. Maybe it's 25% off.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 50. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's showing investment.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things that make people stay in an area.
And that's that's a really good point, because we have our first responders that are doing a big community service for all of us. Putting themselves in harm's way. Like you said, firefighter, police officer, paramedic, correctional officers. And whatever within that first responder. I personally think also, and I'm in your district, that I would even pay a little extra. Even from a tax point of view, because I'm a service member. You know what I mean? I'm a disabled veteran, and I get taken care of fairly decent. But it's like, well, why wouldn't I do that to my fellow brothers and sisters in the first responder thing? That's just even where I would say to myself, I'd have no problem if there's a certain amount that they needed to take extra or whatever. But
once we get it all set up, maybe we'll have a Friends gala every year.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Yes. Well, and also too is like that's I have a nonprofit too, and I'm constantly raising money for underprivileged kids for college. I mean, I got a small one, but we donate money to these. A lot of times they are to veterans, and they're to first responders, to their kids that write an essay or whatever the case may be. But I think providing extra benefits for our community service individuals is a great idea, because what's going to do is going to perpetuate. If you're going to a private school and you get a discount, then what's going to happen is that first responder is going to tell their family friends, and then they're going to come in there. So they're going to make their money no matter what. They're not losing a penny.
And look at the type of kids that you're attracting to these educational institutions. The kid of a cop, the kid of a firefighter, the kid. These aren't the kids who are making trouble.
No.
These are the kids you want in your classroom to, tamp down maybe some of the more excitable ones.
Well, and also too is like, we've all seen some of the things that are going around in our society with some of our public schools, and some of the things, it's like that, when the dog hears a whistle, my kind of ears go up like, what? They're instituting these type of things going on with our kids. Like my kids are all out of school right now, but I'd be in a private school with my kids right now if that was the way our public schools are. And we're talking, your district too is the Clovis Unified School District, and some of the stuff that goes on there, I'm like, man, I am so glad that I don't have, kids in school right now. Where I think you're doing a huge service to our community guys, that because a lot of I have a ton of patients that are first responders, and they're trying to get their kids in private schools, but it's the first thing they say, man, but doc, it's so expensive.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I think that's a really good, that second pillar, of what you're kind of running on is really good. What do you think? Let's say a third. The third one, I mean, there's probably more, but what's that last, say, table of first, second, third, top ranking. The third would be?
I would say how difficult it is for small businesses. Now, granted, it's a little niche. right? Because if you don't run a small business, maybe you don't know and it doesn't affect you. You just kind of see the rotating names at a spot.
Yeah.
But talking to these business owners, which like I started a little LLC when I got off active duty, which pays the bills, right? You're a business owner, you understand. But whether it's the permitting process through the city, the planning department, trying to get something done, not even a load bearing wall, but say redo your patio or, repaint the kitchen. Trying to get those things done, especially if you're a business that has already opened, you're already paying rent, you've already got payroll, you're paying insurance, you're paying utilities, but you can't make any revenue because you're closed down for one thing or another.
Right.
God forbid, right? As you try to follow all the rules, maybe you need to apply for a permit to be a restaurant and lounge instead of just a lounge and this and that. Right. But you can't because it takes, yes. Yeah. And then the guy next door who's been there for 6 years, you get some of these places that are selling drugs out of there and serving alcohol to underage kids. Yeah. It's my opinion that we need to make it as possible. We need to make it as easy and facilitated and encouraged as possible for a small business owner to open up their small business and run it properly. If you're one of those folks who gets out there and breaks the rules,
totally understand.
I want to make an example of them.
And that's almost really almost irrelevant, really. It's just like, but let's get these businesses, like you said, because what happens is you want to open up a business and then you know that the planning is going to take you 6 months. You're like, well, how am I going to make any income? I want to build this new business. And, now I'm just still doing my daily hourly wage job, but I have an idea and I want to be an entrepreneur, but you're being drugged, through this mud of just slowness, in order to get it done.
Well, in a business that breaks the rule, I can think of one in particular right now, and I won't say their name, but I'd be a fan of going in there and the licenses and the permit practicing documents they have. I'll go pull it. You blew it. You break the rules. You break the rules. We've caught you. See you later. You can't do business here anymore because you're dangerous for the people who attend there. It's illegal. You're overburdening the first responders. And this other guy over here, this other family, they want to come open up and they're going to do things the right way. They deserve the opportunity. Yeah. And the great thing about being a candidate who's grassroots and not taking money from big developers or these big, club mega owners is that no amount of money is going to change my mind on that. Yeah. Because it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. No, and like myself as a business owner since I moved to Fresno, there are times when, those tickets to be punched in order to, get your permits and get everything, tenant improvements and things like that. And the licensures and what you can license in what areas and what you can't license. I can see how that's just such huge red tape that just deters people from opening up a business. Then what happens is, let's go the trickle effect, and the business stays vacant. Then you have, people that shouldn't be hanging around buildings that aren't being occupied. Then you go to the, whether it's a homeless people.
Then you get arson. And now you're overburdening your fire department. Right. I think they responded to something like 900 arsons last year. Jeez. Not residential ones, commercial ones. Oftentimes at vacant businesses. Right. Broken window theory.
Well, also too is, that's exactly it. Then you have the owners who are stressed that are coming to you. The owners are stressed because they're like, hey, listen, I need to rent this space. I got guys that keep coming to me and they go, oh, well, it's going to take you 6 months to get the tenant improvement done. And the owner's like, I'm trying the best I can to get this thing up to what's safe for code, get it up to code, get all the sheetrock and the and whatever going in order for, Sally to open up her little knitting shop.
They're feeling the heat.
Yet the owner down to then the person that's wanting to be a business owner themselves. You know what I mean? Man, that's a.
Or even say it's a chain, and a chain is looking at a new location to come to Fresno and open up, and that's great. This one, I'm not sure because it's been vacant for a year and a half and has had the windows broke. No, I'm going to go to Madera instead, or Clovis.
Yeah, right.
Great, we've just lost that business.
So do you think what you've kind of probably researched and done a little bit? Do you think we have in the district? I live there, but I obviously have my business in Clovis. But do you think Fresno, all the districts are losing to Clovis, Madera, then maybe going out towards Kerman? Or do you think we're losing business by people are opening in a little bit areas that are a little easier to open?
I can tell you specifically that we are. We have lost businesses, and a lot of times it's developers. It is the word that one used becomes so onerous to develop in the city of Fresno that they just refuse to open things. They're going to go to Kalinga. They're going to go to Tulare or Visalia or Madera or Stockton, you name it. They're for example, we've got a housing crisis, right? Kind of all over, the housing shortage.
Yeah.
There is a very prominent developer of affordable apartments, decent apartments, who, as of, I think, a year and a half ago, has said that because the city and the county can't even agree on what percentage they're going to share the property tax.
Right.
For 6 years, they haven't been able to agree on that.
Jeez.
Amateur hour sometimes. Because of that, he left. He's not doing business in Fresno anymore. So you want a bigger supply of homes that are affordable, but you want to drive the supply up, which will drive the demand down, lower the prices, let that whole free market economy work. Sorry, the government's stepping in and artificially preventing people from desiring to do business in Fresno.
And these people are just pushing on the outskirts, which then makes it easier for the homeless people to go, hey, listen, there's nobody's gonna bug us in Fresno because nobody's around here, so we're gonna cause havoc in areas of our town, that nobody's around.
No, we got big vacant fields now that we refuse to do infill in all over the city. So why don't we set up an encampment? Started another fire. All right, next field. Yeah. Or even worse.
God, that's crazy.
You decide that you want to smuggle some heroin or some drugs or whatever in, and you're looking for a great place in Fresno that you want to go under the radar.
There's so many vacant.
Look at all your options now. We could go to the closed down Arby's, sure, but we could also just go to the big vacant field with all the tents and see if we got any buyers.
Yeah, exactly.
Human trafficking, prostitution, drug exchange, all of these things live in that world.
Yeah, and Fresno County is like that basically truck stop from Mexico up to Canada, probably.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And we're that typical spot where people kind of hang out for a while and then cause havoc and then beat feet.
They boot scoot up to Sacramento.
Man, that's crazy. So what do you think? How do you think things are going so far for you? You got, like you said, 30 something?
Yeah.
Yours before November.
Yeah. I think it's 38 days or so.
Yeah. How are you feeling so far?
I feel really good.
Yeah.
I've never done this before. First time I've run any campaign. I have been told that a lot of the things I do are a waste of time, or that's silly, or that's unorthodox. And that doesn't stop me.
Yeah.
But gauging the success of the campaign, I put it like when you're running every year, we got to go do our 3-mile PFT run. Yep. It's like running that with no watch on. All you can do is make sure that you are sweating as much as you can.
Get to the finish line.
You are running as fast as you can to get to the finish line. You're passing the guys to your left and right. That's all you can do. So we have done things the right way. We have not stopped. That gas pedal just slowly is getting pushed further and further down. Yeah. It's the way it is. This morning was up at 5:30, went out and did a big trash pickup just because some neighborhood needed it. We've steered more away from the big fundraiser things because that's not how you get people involved.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So we did that. And then after that, we went and walked with some family and friends, about 1,200 houses, just knocking on every single door, making sure everybody has a flyer. So we've walked to every house.
My camera guy, Frankie, was telling me, have you hit like every door in your district?
Every door.
Like every door.
Every house.
Yeah.
Every mobile home.
Yeah.
Every gated community.
Bro, when I'm in your district and I wasn't home when you were there. Damn it, I was probably at the gym here.
Could be.
Yeah,
the exception is sometimes the apartments are really weird because it's private. Yeah.
Yeah. But dude, listen, that's admirable because, that's just, and that's a military mentality. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say, it is what it is. I mean, I don't think you're going to see anybody else just in general, whether it's your competitor or whatever, that's going to knock on doors like that.
Nobody wants to be outside.
Yeah.
My favorite campaigning weather is 116 degrees, middle of the afternoon, because I know, especially now that there are two of us in this race, nobody else wants to be outside except for the Marine.
And also too is you get a door that opens and they're like, damn, dude, it's
they do. They open it up. I'm sweating. I got a big old smile on my face. Yeah. Catches people off guard.
Did you get a bunch of little old ladies giving you lemonade at least?
I pull so well with little old ladies.
See, I'm telling you, that's
Doc,
awesome.
I got to tell you,
I'd be the same way. You know what I mean? And listen, you just want their votes. You know what I mean? And it's ironic.
No, I want to work for them.
And also too is I was going to follow suit with that because it is true because the people that really are worried about, say, for example, the homelessness and safety are these elderly people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? 100%. Joking aside with the lemonade, but hey, listen, that's great. But you also want them to know that, hey, listen, you get elected, you're going to do the best you can to make sure that, she or he's going to be, feel safe in their home.
Yes. Nobody who's, in their early 30s is super concerned about the city-county tax sharing agreement because they're probably distracted with work all the time, maybe trying to afford a house for the first time or just mortgage. Kids, dog, pets, mom and dad, they got all this. But after you're retired and the kids have left town and you're an empty nester, you've got more time. You can sit down and kind of digest these things and then tell me all of your opinions as soon as I come to your door.
One of the things that kind of geared me towards just kind of like inquiring to give you the phone call to come by and, chat on the podcast is the fact that you're a military veteran. You volunteer your time, which most people don't do, in order to serve your country, to protect people, right? And in turn, as an official, hopefully, things go your way, is that you're still active. You're still a Marine, always a Marine. Also, too, is you're still trying to provide safety. And those are some of the running points that you're trying to work on. Safety, safety, safety. Getting the community to be together with businesses, and things like that. So, I mean, I commend you on that. And I hope, hope everything goes well for you, and things like that,
I appreciate it.
What are your next steps in these next 30 days? Like where do we go from here? Like, still beating the doors down? Is there anything
we've got
on your agenda?
We've got a couple little house parties that, a supporter here, a supporter there wants to have.
Yeah.
We've got one official, last big fundraiser for the campaign, which is at a local business, pretty new business. They're great friends. So we're going to do that. Nothing real expensive. I don't believe on paywalling people from taking part in civic discourse. But other than that, it's what I have been doing. Do you think, walking every day.
Yeah. Do you think so far that your opponent has been doing things as fair as I personally feel on the other side of this table, that I feel that you're being fair with, in the way you're running your campaign? Do you feel that he's doing the same thing?
Beats me.
Yeah. And nothing, try not to hear the naysayers and things like that. Just blinders on and go straight forward. That's awesome. That's another, positive attribute, that I can give you. And I think the military does that for you. Is like, man, you don't care what anybody else is doing. You're just doing your thing. When you get to the finish line, what was your time?
Like we mentioned, when I met him at the very beginning of this, I said, hey, I'm not going to go out and speak negatively about you. And,
you still got that foot out of the side of your head.
Well, I mean, he could, drive a car through my front room.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change me.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it, the frog and the scorpion?
Yes.
Hey, man, if it's in your nature to sting, it's still my nature to help you. So your actions aren't going to affect what I do, because at the end of the day, I'm here to work for the people in my community, and I'm working to be my opponent's city councilman. Do you have the opportunity? Obviously, I'm just a little podcaster type of guy in town. I'm blessed to have a good reputation and such, but do you have other things planned, like, to get you out there? I mean, we'll put this out as soon as we can. And are there other things that, like the news wise, do they sit down with you? How's that been working? Is like, how do you work that? Like, can you knock on the, channel, 47 and go, hey, listen, I want to sit down with a reporter? And I talked to Monty a couple of weeks ago. He interviewed me. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Been reached out to by a lot of, a lot of different networks. Fresno, I did a Fresno Bee interview a couple of days ago.
Nice.
Anytime I get a chance to get on the, which unfortunately we've had a few debates offered to us, even before the primary. There were debates and forums and roundtables, yada, yada.
Nothing yet.
Every time, there have been.
Oh.
And every time I get offered, before the email even loads, I say, yes, you can't pick your battlefield. So anytime, any place, I need to be there. If I need to respond to somebody at, 5 a.m. when I'm sitting in City Hall, I need to be able to do that now. So I'm waiting, because every time there's an opportunity for a debate or a forum, I always say yes. And I always say, copy that, raise my hand, I'll be the first one there. You need two people to debate.
Usually, yeah. Now then again, I do talk to myself at times, but that's my own issue.
It's more of the convincing yourself with
exactly.
the,
Right
with
side,
the
left
shoulder
side,
angels.
Yes, exactly. No, that's great. I mean, I cannot, tell you anymore that, I appreciate you coming on. And I wish you the best of luck. I think you're going to do really well in this. I look forward to kind of keeping up with you, in these next couple of weeks as it goes on. And if there's anything we can do, from my point of view, we on the podcast, or if you want to, come back and get some issues out that you think, and my little amount of people that come out, who knows, and I got a good following with military, people and things like that. Have you gone to talk to to the boys at some of the recruiting stations, got into any of our military stuff, because some people may not know your background, obviously, and a lot of your posters and things like that, you do have that, which is great marketing. Have you been involved in any of that, the VFW? Have you been in those places?
I have.
Good.
Longtime member of the Elks Lodge.
Oh, no way.
We're at the Clovis Veterans Memorial District all the time.
Beautiful.
We're just, all the 9/11 memorials they had, went to a debate at the American Legion. Nice. Constantly keeping up with Marine Corps League meetings, you name it.
Yeah.
Constantly keeping up. Last week we went to the VSO, all the people waiting out line just serve coffee and donuts because shoot, you're outside.
You might have met Eric Ornalis, little short, stocky dude, Army.
Was he indoor? Is he work there?
Yeah, he works there.
Oh, we stayed outside the whole time, just talking to the folks in the line.
Oh, okay, as they're coming in and out, yeah.
Well, we had like 26 people waiting in line at one point.
Jeez, yeah, great guy. He's huge military advocate. You know what I mean? That'd be one of those, with those guys. She gets you a VSO and come on back on for a podcast with
him and Kyle.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, listen, I know you spend a lot of time with me right now, but I just want to thank you so much for popping by the podcast, and good luck with you, and anything that I can do to help you out along the way. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going veteran first, no matter what. Even there's some things, and we don't get into issues, on political stuff or religious things and things of that nature. But I'm never going to have a problem with promoting a military guy first, as opposed to somebody who hasn't served this country. I
appreciate that, and I'm going to do my part and keep the happy warrior mentality.
Yeah. No,
smile on my face.
You're going to do it. I think you're going to do it. I like the idea. You don't have the stopwatch on, for the race, but you got that 3 mile you're running right now. You just make sure that you're running, sweating as much as you can. When you get to the finish line, you hope the numbers, no pun intended from the election point of view, time numbers, the numbers work out best for you.
Yeah.
So, once again, thank you very much for being on the show, and we will definitely keep in touch.
I appreciate it. Okay. If there's a way that, if anybody wants to reach out or anything like that, can we throw up the plug out there for them?
Let's do that. Yeah. So if anybody's got any questions for you or anything that they can do to help you out, you can throw it on here if you just want to kind of mention to it right now. How can we get a hold of you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Easiest way is anybody can call me, 295-2850. That's it. Go straight to my phone. It's an anonymous line, so I can't see what your number is. You can call me names, call for help. Just don't call me late to dinner.
That's it.
The website is nick6.com, the number 6.
Number 6.
Easy as it can be. You're one of the Instagram kids or something like that.
Yep.
Nick's got my 6. Again, the number 6, because I got your back. I've got your 6.
Exactly. That hopefully, those are all the veteran kids. They'll know what that is.
There you go.
Yeah. Good. All right. So until next time, this is Dr. Joe Martin from the Warrior Mindset Podcast. Please like and subscribe to our station channel, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.